Welcome back to First News at 4. We are doing things a little bit differently today in order to make sure that you are hurricane ready.
Hurricane season starts June 1st, which is this Saturday. We have helpful information and advice to help you to be prepared just in case we do get a storm in our area. So now we're going to answer some questions that we've been receiving on our Facebook page and our other social media channels, Tina.
All right, Scott. So the first question comes from WSAV viewer Mary Mann. She asks, Savannah hasn't had a direct impact since 1979. They are claiming that this year will be a very active season. With this being said, do you think it will be close for an impact this year?
Well, I would say with this, we're going to start off with it only takes one storm at the local level for it to be a bad season for us. So even if it's a quiet season, it can just have one storm and it could be bad for us. But we are expecting it to be an above average hurricane season in the sheer number of storms. And with that, just by sheer numbers, you increase your odds of any one location along the coast to get hit by any of the storms that do develop. And in fact, the Colorado State official forecast that they put out does put the eastern seaboard at an increased risk for seeing development. A lot of the reason for that is because the waters in the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean Sea are running above normal, just like the rest of the hurricane basin. So that would increase the odds of something forming a little bit closer to us, something forming in the Gulf of Mexico or the Caribbean that could potentially slide up the coast. And that would also make our waters a little bit more mild as well, something that the storms would be able to feed off of.
Certainly a good question and valuable information coming from you, Scott. We do have another question as well. This one coming from Russell Lee. So Russ writes, we all know hurricanes can start off the coast of Africa, but what system creates those puffs off Africa, and where does it begin? The Indian Ocean?
Not the Indian Ocean. Actually, we look for what is referred to as the intertropical convergence zone. That's where the air comes together at the equator. You get the most warming on the surface of the Earth, and you get the convection along there in the equatorial regions of Africa over where we have tropical rainforests, and that's where the storms originate as far as the massive moisture coming off. And since they form so far to the east, there's a lot of real estate between the African coast and, say, the Caribbean islands, and then North America, the southeastern U.S. These are the more dangerous kinds of storms that we have to watch out for that could potentially blow up a lot faster and also maintain their strength for a lot longer. So it's all connected in the atmosphere with everything that we look for as far as tropical formation zones with teleconnections and with all that moisture, all that warmth in the equator that we are looking at for this season because of the El Nino Southern Oscillation, which is the El Nino or La Nina, that water of the Atlantic is trending a lot warmer than normal, but with all that moisture, the lows coming off of Africa, that's what we will be watching out for later in the season for that development in that area, but not from the Indian Ocean.
All right, we're enjoying the participation we're getting from our viewers. Our final question right now comes from Craig Fennell, and he asks, is the dust from the Sahara that keeps storms from forming going to be strong or weak?
Yeah, right now it's pretty strong, and that's a very good question, and that's going to be trending for a little while, just how the general circulation in the atmosphere is trending kind of northerly to northeasterly winds coming off of the Sahara, which does then get that dust locked in the atmosphere and then eventually brings it over the Atlantic for us. So I think this season, because of that dust being somewhat prevalent for us right now in the atmosphere, it's going to be similar to last year where we could end up with a backloaded hurricane season with the activity really ramping up as we head into, say, August, September, and October, whereas like last year we had a quiet season early on, June and July pretty quiet overall, but then as that dust settled down, things got busy pretty quickly. So it did end up being a top 5 hurricane season for 2023, and that's what we're going to be looking for this year.
All right, Scott, thank you.